is up, everyone? Welcome to this great Thursday, July 13th, and welcome to the Honky Tonk Highway. Today, today's going to be a fun one. I got a bunch of messages about this, so I wanted to make sure to do a really good topic. But before we get into that, don't forget, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share, follow everything: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and this one is going to be this one's going to be a fun one as I'm trying to adjust all the screens here. Give me one moment. All right. Also, don't forget, download the Controversial Conversations podcast. I dropped part 2 of the What Makes You a Professional this past Monday. So, definitely check that out. So today's topic, I got a message, got a couple of messages about this, and we're going to talk about everything across the board on this. I figured, sitting at home this morning, I'm driving back from dropping Kelly off, and I'm like, I wonder if I can get a good friend of mine to come on that knows a lot about this topic, because he recently went through this the last couple of years once he won World Dance Masters. You know him as the guy behind the vibe. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we got him off of Fortnite, even though me, him, and Mr. Maj did get a little bit of playing time in as we talked about this show. My brother from another mother, Mr. Tim Johnson. What's up, bro?
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right actually. I'm all right. I'm in my super little office, hence the Bomber Command headset. This isn't my Fortnite headset, everyone, just so you know. That looks more like a 10-year-old's. This is slightly more professional.
As JP says, it's peach time.
Thanks, bud.
Got tons of people already joining us in the chat. Jen's here. Pauline Baycroft's here. Mama P, I get to see you in a couple weeks. Cannot wait to
Hey,
see you and
Pauline.
Big Dave. Maureen's here. Dustin, who snuck out a little work. Say to Rebecca. Carmen's here. Biggie Jim's here. Bonita. I can go on. Aurora. Everyone is here. My wife's here as she drives. Juan's here. This one's gonna be a blast. And I want to talk about
Yeah.
both sides, because we kind of hit on this a little bit earlier. We were chit-chatting about this as when I asked you about it. But as an up-and-comer, as a new person, do you get your dances out there for people to know, to see? And I love your answer earlier, luck. I love that. When we talked about it flat out, just luck.
I mean, it's true to a degree, right? It is luck. There is definitely
Yeah, it definitely.
there's
I will agree with that to a certain extent. Absolutely, it is luck.
I mean, there are things you can do though, right? So there are definitely things you can do. And we sort of touched on this. So if let's start with the obvious, and then that will, get the conversation going. Because I think in terms of like, how do you get your choreography out there? How do you get people to want to learn what you do? So obviously people need to kind of get to know who you are, I guess. I mean, from my position, I've been dancing since I was 13. That's 20 something years. So I've been around a really long time, but this is where you and I differ, and I think this is where the sort of conversation earlier changed, because you've got like more of a competition background. For me, it's always been social, just going to events and just hanging out with everybody, really.
Yeah, actually, I got to do both, because at least over here, and I know it's still over there, social line dance, and at the beginning it wasn't as bad, but nowadays social line dance and the competition world is kind of split. It kind of really, they don't always tend to mesh. They're not at the same places. I remember back in the day with UCWDC, the social line scene at a competition event was massive. You had the Johns, the Joes, the Guytons there, and people came in the masses. Scott was at a lot of them, Rachel. So it was nice because I got to do both. As a dancer, I wasn't choreographing back then, though.
Me
Either
either.
were,
Me either.
but, and I don't think back then we had and this was before social media. We'll go ahead and just drop those two words right now. Social media. As I got asked this. Okay, and this is the thing. And there's two sides of this. There's two sides, clearly sides of this. There's the ones who just that choreograph that don't enter competitions that have no desire to compete in a choreography competition because they don't want the teaching spot that comes with a lot of them, and they don't
Yeah.
want to teach. My question, first of all, to them, and someone asked me this the other day, how does someone who doesn't want to be an instructor get their choreography out there? I go, you mean they don't want to be an instructor yet?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is so true. So first of all, how and maybe Rachel can answer this question at some point. How it happened back in the day, Rachel, Rob, and how they got into choreography, and then everyone ended up doing their dances. I don't know. For today, yeah, I mean, competition is it's probably the not the best way, but it's certainly a good way to put yourself up there. But exactly as you say, you then need to learn to teach, which I can speak from personal experience. I had no idea how to do that. Absolutely none. And
But
suddenly everyone's like, "Cool, can you come and teach this?" And I'm thinking,
well,
"How do you
hold
do
on.
that?
You just threw in the magic word. You just threw in the magic words though.
What's that?"
Someone wanted you to become an instructor,
Well, yeah, because they want to learn the
but
dance that you write, and they're like, "Well, how can I
but
learn
I
it?" And you think, "Yeah."
but I thought they didn't have nothing to do with the other.
No, you see, you can't. You just, I mean, well, you can, but you're gonna really restrict yourself because we're going straight into it now because it's now
Well,
this
because
goes into
here's the thing. I
something
just
that,
released the podcast with John. What makes you professional? I've released part two. We've been talking about this. This has been a hot topic from day one. I think the line dance world a lot is divided. Half the people say they're not. They don't. They're not one and the same. Being an instructor, being a choreographer. Other people say it is, because it's funny because to call yourself a professional choreographer, you have to become a professional instructor. 9 times out of 10, because you're getting paid to go teach,
yeah,
and that's what makes you a professional. Magically makes you a professional choreographer because you're getting
I
paid to
think
teach.
I think you
But
can be an instructor without being a choreographer. I don't think you can really get away with
but
being a choreographer without being an instructor because you how do because you're gonna need to write the step sheet, which is
correct. Which
kind of similar to teaching the dance anyway. You're gonna need to break it down into
whoa,
sections,
no,
into
because hold
steps.
on, I'm going to disagree on that part because we both know plenty of people out there that can't write a step sheet to save their life. We know great top name instructors out there, top name choreographers that don't write their own step sheets or didn't for the longest time, and they were great instructors. They were amazing at it, and they weren't writing their own step sheets.
True, true,
So
but you
so
still
they were still teaching. They were still being a great instructor. They were teaching people. They were absolutely phenomenal at being instructors, but they weren't writing step sheets, so they weren't reading a step sheet. That's for sure. If they were out writing one, they're definitely not reading one.
so what's your thoughts then on being
So
a choreographer without being instructor?
there, I don't think there is. I straight up don't think there is because here's the thing: anybody who says, and I'll go ahead and say this, anybody who's out there uh, who says that they're entering these competitions not to be, and they don't want to teach and all this like that, I think they're part of it is lying to themselves because I think deep down, do they want to be an instructor? Absolutely.
Hmm.
You want to know why? Why would you start choreographing? What made you want to start choreographing? Obviously, you thought your level of dance was up there already. You
Yeah.
thought you passed the I'm no longer thing. I've learned enough about learning how to dance from people that they decided to try to put their creativity to pen and paper or to music and write their own dance.
So here's a question then. Okay, so if let's say you want to get that dance out and your opportunity is either going to come from a an event director or local club going, "Hey, do you want to come and teach your dance?" So at that point, you need to be able to do it, and you want to be able to deliver it so that people get the dance. Because once
Right.
you can have the most competent class in the world, they are still there to just enjoy and have a good time. So you need to be really clear as to what are the steps, how does it work, rhythm. So I think I agree with you in a way. You can't. you cannot hope to sort of excel in choreography unless you can
Because
teach it.
here's the thing: 9 times out of 10, and you went through this as teaching, or as competing. You entered WDM, won.
Yeah,
Just minor thing there, won it. And you obviously had to get people to learn your choreography to dance it with you, right? Or did you dance it by yourself?
true. So actually, because so we won World Dance Masters with Gemma, and at the time I didn't know how to teach. So in fairness, Gemma got up and taught that class, and
Okay.
even so,
But
let's just I'm gonna go on.
was it just the two of you that danced it though?
Not what to demo it or
Yeah, to demo it.
no, we had people demo it with
So
us.
so did she teach all of them, or did you help?
Yes.
You helped. You didn't teach
At
any of them.
at
You
that
didn't show
point, to be
any of
totally
them.
clear, I no, because I didn't know
Okay.
how. I didn't know how. So just to sort of put this into sort of give people a bit of hope. In terms of choreography, I didn't know how to count music. I found the track and was like, I really like this track. At the time, Gemma then helped me count the music through. We did it together, put it together. But Gemma was teaching on a regular basis at that point, and so was a brilliant instructor, and so was able to teach the dance to those who danced it with us. Following that, though, I then needed to learn to teach, and so when I thought, okay, I really want to continue with this, I really want to do it. I'm going to bring my cough on. Sorry. I then needed to
Gotta
go and
love the
learn
mute
how to
button.
teach. I love a mute button. This is great. I don't even have to touch the screen. Um, So I had to learn to teach. If I want to get my choreography out there, I need to learn to teach it. And so I took a lot of time. I went to a lot of local classes. I got opportunities to teach at what is Lakeside, which I now teach at alongside Jenny and Jess.
But
Um,
hold on.
local other local
You just said
classes.
something there magically. In order for to get your choreography out there, you had to learn how to teach. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
because how else are
Ha-
people going to learn it?
Other people taught it.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. Perfect example. The vibe.
So yeah, actually, that's a really good shout. So, but the vibe. So this, jumping a few years because I knew how to teach. But again,
But you
in
didn't.
terms of
You technically only taught this online. You never taught it to
yes,
people.
yeah, I know. So
Everyone else
again,
taught it. Everyone else
everyone,
taught.
we were talking about this before. So just for everybody else, I suddenly had this realization, and this was about 2 years ago at Jen's event.
Hmm.
So I wrote the vibe. I actually wrote it for marathon. I was due to go to marathon in 2020. Obviously, COVID happened, and I ended up teaching it on Streamline. And I just, no major social media post. It was just, hey guys, I'm going to teach this dance. I've written it. Come and have a go. And I did it on Streamline. It went really well at the time. I only had, I think, 30 or 40 people watching it. So I thought, oh, that's great. At least I got it out there. I personally really liked the dance. It took about 3 months, and suddenly I'm getting tagged in posts everywhere, and
Yep.
I'm like, this thing is on fire. And fast forward, it is still filling floors. It
Oh,
still fills floors now. 3 years
I
later, it still fills
I
floors.
still think you got robbed. I still think you got robbed by not getting a nomination for it when it was in the top.
Hashtag crystal boot. Hashtag
Well,
crystal boot.
it was
Um,
in the top of the charts, up in the top for forever, and didn't get a nom. And I still thought of any dance that should have got a knob or a wild card knob. That would definitely been the vibe. But yeah, but again,
yeah,
you personally
I
only taught it one time online.
yes, I taught it
Okay,
for the first time to people in 21. No, 20, yeah, 21 at Jen's event, end of the year at Jen's event when you and I got
right.
together after that. And that was I suddenly realized, and that was only because I taught a beginner dance and they said, will you teach us the vibe? And I was
So
halfway through the teach and thought, I've never taught this to
so
anybody
you're
before.
talking a year and a half later, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I know multiple people have videos of this. It filled the floor at Classic that year. It filled the
Yeah,
floor,
I've had
and
videos,
you never taught it. So that brings right there that proves my point. You
but
didn't
I
have to
taught it
learn to
first time.
teach. Yeah,
I taught it
hold
the
on. You
first
taught
time.
it one time. You taught it one time online, which JP goes, who knows? Maybe the vibe will win a classic boot in a few years. Wouldn't that be
We can
something?
only
Never
hope.
win a boot, never been nominated, don't get nominated for a boot, turns around and wins a classic.
I was just reading Terry's comment actually. Some people are great instructors, some great choreographers, some
Yep.
great dancers. It's rare to find three in one person. That is super. That's so true. And actually, that touched on something we said earlier, didn't it, when we were talking about
Yeah,
this
but
previously?
the problem is if you look at all those people that are all three, they're not the new up and comers. That's not what we're talking about, unfortunately. And I agree with that
It's
statement. I
true.
think there are people that are great, and I don't necessarily. If we look at everybody today, that's not the case. And people are still getting hired, and people are still doing it well. Jen said, "I would love to see people enjoy something I was inspired to create, but to be an instructor is not really a base reason. But if it's not a reason, why why are you why do people enter choreography competitions? There's a couple things on this, and we were talking a lot about this earlier. There's two different the choreography competition the competition route to enter a choreography competition is way one huge approach to this, and you could easily take this approach. But if you have no desire to teach, don't recommend that approach at all, because you're taking a teaching spot away from someone who wants to be a teacher.
I mean, I do get the comment because from my perspective, like as what Jen's saying, that I wanted to give back. That's why I continue to do it for something that I've done for, as I say, 20 odd years, and I've made some amazing friendships. I've had an absolute blast over and over again, and it just fills my life with so much happiness when I'm, at these events, just in my own little world, dancing away. And for me, it was I wanted to give back, and so that's why I did it. But what you quickly realize is that for it to really get out there, for them to really get traction, you have to be the one to teach it until you get to a position where, and this is what we talked about earlier, and I'm going to name drop a little bit because it's a great bit of advice that I got. Debbie Rushton said to me once, you know you've made it when people trust you. And I didn't really understand the comment at first. I was like, why wouldn't people trust me? But what she means by that is, and local instructors will understand what I'm about to say. When you look at Copper Knob and you're looking at what am I going to teach my class next, and you're looking at the top 20, you will immediately start to gravitate towards the names that you know you've taught before, and they're good dancers, they fill the floor, they're at events that you go to. So it's that point where being an instructor isn't necessarily needed at that point. You could be just a choreographer. But the other bit that comes with that then is now you're established and people want to do your dances. They also want you at the event. They want you teaching them your dances. So it's a necessary evil, I think, in order to get the choreography out is to become a teacher.
Oh, not disagreeing, but you're still going to end up as an instructor.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
That's that's
yeah,
that's
you
the
are.
that's the point. That's the point. And like Jen just said, I create choreography because I'm a dancer. I'd be perfectly happy if others taught it. Okay, that I get, but what I don't agree with is people who enter choreography competitions where the prize is a teaching spot, but yet they have no desire to take that spot. If you have no desire to take that spot, don't enter it. There's other ways to get your dance out there. Fine, you want to pay your money, but don't take that away from someone who wants to be an instructor.
Yeah, but I mean that's just that route, right? So that's if
Okay,
you're
hold on.
right.
She
If you
just she just added, if given the chance, I would absolutely teach. I enjoy doing it. So, okay, that's exactly our point. We're not saying people write because they're instructors. That's not what we're saying. We're saying to get your dances out there, it's easier to be it's easier if you're already an instructor because you're teaching it. So there you go.
yeah,
We're not saying you don't have to be an instructor. Is it way easier? Yeah. We're saying that if given the choice, if you look at the choreographers out there, if you look at everybody, if you go and look at Copper Knob right now, and you look at it like he just said, if you look at the top 20, look at how many of them have a weekly class.
but it's like yeah, I mean just to change, not even change the subject, but going back to competition, like we were talking about the difference between like UK or Europe and the States as
We
well,
did.
because
You
I
asked me.
think you got it harder, I think.
I 100% agree.
But the difference over in Europe, so let's just take WDM for a moment, because you made a really good point to this, I thought, is that the thing with World Dance Masters is the restriction isn't what something like if it's only been in the top 20 over that year, so you could be competing against people who are brilliant teachers, established teachers,
Correct.
potentially even established choreographers,
Correct.
um, which that's quite tough. So I think you need to be ready for that if you're going to go down that
Yeah,
route.
it's not the same. I don't think it's the same action. People are entering it because they want that spot in WDM. People, that's why people are entering that competition. They want that teaching spot on that WDM stage. Big, plain and simple. It's that simple. If it, and I always said this, and this is I will stick to my guns on this. I competed in the USLDCC for four out of the first 5 years. I competed in that time. I went over and competed in WDM. Won my division, made it to the final three. It's totally different because guess what? If I would have turned around and got a phone call from an event in the U.S. up north somewhere, if or anywhere actually, overseas, anywhere, if someone called me and said we want to hire you as an instructor, guess what? I'm bowing out. I'm gone. No more competing. Why?
Yeah.
Because that was the whole point. My choreography got noticed. What I did got noticed enough that an event director took notice and took a chance. It wasn't about the trophy. It wasn't about the trophy at all. It was about wanting to get your name out there.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling
Paul
At
James.
Paul's comment.
Paul
Oh, I don't know.
James.
Won Chicago pretty easy.
Yes. I was there
I
for
can
that.
I can I can trump you on that one, Paul, because we were talking about this earlier. In terms of which I thought was hilarious, considering Kelly's like, "Hey, do you want to come and talk about this?" So again, my weird path that's led to here. Um, After WDM, I entered the Chicago competition and I positioned dead last.
He did.
Actually, with terrible scores across the board.
With
Um,
mind you, a dance that was in the top 15 on Copper Knop.
yeah. But as I said to Kelly, I put a target on my back because I didn't realize I was meant to be at a meeting in the morning to talk about the choreography competition, which I overslept, missed that completely. And once I got my scores back, I realized that the step sheet somehow, I still to this day have no idea how I did it. The step sheet merged two sheets together, and so it just made absolutely no sense.
All right. So
But the
here's a
teach went
comment.
well.
Here's a comment. And I think I'm going to have to trump this one. Guyton, those judges.
Yeah.
It says, if I'm having an inviting choreographer, and I always butcher her name, so Mars, I apologize now. I always butcher your name. I apologize. If I'm inviting a choreographer to my event, I really need to know if he or she would be also a good instructor. If I would invite someone who perhaps done a good dance but can't teach, dancers would tell me not to invite him or her anymore. So it's very important for me that choreographer would be a good and interesting teacher as well. Okay, but here we go. Everyone, everyone has a first event. We're specifically talking about up and comers, a lot of people who possibly had never been to an event. Someone's going to have to take that chance. Someone is going to have to hire them. Here's a perfect example. First time Madison Glover came to the States, someone took a chance. First time Fred Whitehouse came to the States, someone took a chance. Shane McKeever, you know, someone's going to have to be the rookie. Some event's going to have to be the rookie.
But so again, devil's advocate. So again, this kind of goes back to if you want to be a choreographer, you need to be an instructor, right? Because
Right. So if someone writes a great dance, if someone turns around and writes a hit dance, you we technically don't know if they're a good instructor yet because if they're all they're doing is entering choreography competitions, no one's going to know that until the first person
so
hires. Marry
because
you.
actually this is
Thank
something.
you, Guyton. Marry you.
Marry
I
you.
always do it wrong.
This is, and actually, I'm pleased Guyton's here because we spoke about this earlier, and I used Guyton as an example of this. So as a choreographer, I think, and I'm saying this, and there's like what four dances that people know that I've done. So take my advice with a pinch of salt. But from Guyton's perspective, I'm just going to use Guyton because he's easy. He's an easy example. Here is somebody that brought really interesting choreography that was very different. But having taken a class with Guyton, you knew you were in Guyton's class because it was great fun. It was
Right.
really informative. You got the dance and you remembered it. So I think part of that appeal, if Guyton had just, could you imagine if he did some of those dances, just did a step sheet, instructors would look at it and go, ain't no way.
Hold
Ain't
on,
no
but
way. I can't teach that.
let's take it one step further. Let's take it one step further. I remember the first time someone came in and hired him to go to England. We were at the White Horse Saloon. Could you imagine if you walked into a country bar back in the early 2000s and you walked into a country bar with a guy with baggy jeans on, a visor, a ponytail on his head that looked like Pebbles Flintstone? Would that turn around and you saw him dance? Would you turn around and sit there and said, "Hey, hey, that guy should be the one teaching. He wasn't an instructor. He was just a dancer at the bar." Someone
But
you
someone gave him
you
a chance, right?
someone had to take a chance on him. As JP
I'm
said,
laughing.
9 pages on his easiest dance.
Yeah. And
But
what my ADD didn't even get a step sheet.
right. So let's throw that one out the window about step sheets to be a good instructor or a good choreographer. Guyton proves that. Guyton proved that wrong. But that's my point. Someone had to be Guyton's first. Someone had to hire Guyton before they knew he could be an instructor. They had to take a chance on him. As
Oh,
Guyton said, "Yep,
these
damn it,
comments are brilliant.
Guyton, yep, damn it, Pedro, his fault." Right, but someone took a chance. Someone took a chance on everyone. You don't know they're going to be a great instructor. Now, if you're going to be, if every event director, and I'll say this, if every event director turned around and waited and waited and waited for 75 people to hire an instructor, how many instructors will we not have right now? Can you imagine if no one ever, if and I'll use this situation. I remember Fred's first event in the United States. Darren Bailey couldn't come to Tampa Bay Line Dance Classic. He
Hmm.
recommended Fred. At the time, they had just wrote Trespassing. Trespassing was a massive hit.
But so let's carry on with
Trespassing was
Fred.
a massive hit. Darren recommended Fred to come over to take his place.
And then
So
when Fred did Eurodance, and I can't think what the dance is called now, which is really annoying, but everyone knows the one I mean, which
hold
is
on,
really
here we
cool.
go. Guyton just said it, and this is perfect because this is what I think a lot of event directors and a lot of people don't realize.
Yes, go
He
on,
goes, "Yep,
totally.
someone took a chance, and I wasn't a good instructor at first. It took time to become what I did." Yes.
Mm.
See, I think that everyone's thinking they have to be Joe and Rachel and John and Scott and Fred and Shane right off the rip at the first event. I think attendees expect everyone to be at the level of them. I think event directors are. I think everybody right off the rip are expecting all these new people to turn around and be the
Be
level
that.
of an A-lister right
Can I
off the
just
rip. Go ahead, please.
Can I say, because we said about this earlier, right? Because that you're exactly right, and I think, including myself, you kind of go, "Oh, I want to be as good as that." But for me, it was like Fred and Shane, because I did so many events and they're there, and but then what you've got to consider is how much time they've put into it. Fred and Shane are both world champions multi times over. They've written loads of dances. They've been out teaching for years. To expect to be at that level, you need to be playing at that level. And I'm not. So but it's to be
But do you
trying to
honestly
get into
think
the same teaching realm is
But
great.
do you honestly think social dancers and this is the thing, and social event directors give a crap about competition? No.
No,
Not one
no,
bit.
no, but it makes a difference in how you teach, clearly, because all you certainly from learning it from the beginning, I would say. I'm with Guyton. The more you do it, the more you start
Oh,
to realize
absolutely.
where are the good places to stop the dance, teach it, the counts, all that sort of stuff. But certainly, I think from a competition perspective, and then when it comes to demoing a dance, that's like another topic. Once you've got past the initial getting your choreography out there, it's then facing the horrible thing where people are like, do you want a demo? Can you demo your dance? Can you go and stand in front of these 300 people on your own on a massive floor and convince them that yours is the one that they want to come and learn on a Saturday afternoon?
Here we go. Dustin Valcata just said, and a huge shout out for Dustin. He won the Fraser division at the USLDCC finals this past year at Marathon with his dance Iconic. Dustin says, I've been a local instructor for 4+ years before ever considering competing choreography. Someone who took 4+ years. That's kind of impressive right now, considering today's day and age. I wouldn't say I've had a hit per se, but was lucky enough to have an offer to run a workshop at Hot. I don't think it's strictly based on having hit choreos, but being present at events and competition helps with exposure 1,000%. Hold on a minute. So I'm going to throw this because I said this to John on a podcast. So what you're saying is someone has to pay thousands and thousands of dollars repeatedly to prove that they're a good choreographer.
But this, can I just pinch, because Paul's put a comment in that's similar to this,
Yeah,
and it
I
kind of
was waiting for that one next. I
number
saw
one,
that.
he said, "Why am I using my posh voice? This is my normal voice." Maybe Paul, it's because we normally hang out after way too many drinks, and then it all kind of goes downhill. But he says, this, I know this sounds a little harsh as it's in text form, but depending on why you choose to choreograph, I don't think everyone is meant to be given the chance. So
Uh,
it's it,
yes, but on that aspect, yes, not everyone is ever going to get their chance. Absolutely not. That's never going to happen. We don't have enough events in the day that make everybody who's aspiring to be the next Shane McKeever to be them out there. We just don't have that.
but if you
But to
link
turn
that with
around and
Dustin's comment,
but do what?
so link that with Dustin's comment though. If not everyone's willing the chance, but if so, taking Dustin's comment where you're persistent, you're there all the time. This is something I really, really want.
Okay, but hold on. That doesn't make you a good. That doesn't make your dance good.
No, but it might give you the opportunity to have that chance to
So that
teach.
comes down to money. So what you're saying is someone that wants to spend a totally astronomical amount of money and go to 10 events a year, dance until 4 o'clock in the morning every night, and be in front of everybody is the only people that should have their dances like that.
Well, it's another view, isn't it? Another
Yeah,
view in, another
But
way in.
but no, I don't think they're correlated. Being up social dancing to 4 o'clock in the morning nonstop has nothing to do whether or not you're a good instructor or a good choreographer. Because Guyton
Not
said, remember, there's a
necessarily
big
up to.
difference between a good choreographer and a good instructor. But I've been told multiple times the reason I don't get hired is because I don't dance nonstop during open dancing. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, that's well.
What does that have to do with what does that have to do with anything? Because here's the
What
thing, I'm over there working, doing other stuff at an event. So I don't have the same time to open dance as everyone else does.
It's true.
So because I'm not on the floor 6 to 8 hours a night, open dancing nonstop, does that make my dances not any less great than someone else? No. That has nothing to do with my choreography.
So, question though. So Dustin's asked another question. Question for you, Kenny. Are you opening every step sheet you see posted? As some local person with no connection to the circuits, it's a lot harder to find a way to give your dance exposure. I think that's a massive issue anyway, Dustin.
Uh,
Personally, I think there's way too many step sheets.
well, Dustin, to answer your question, no. And the reason why is I'm not a Copper Knob fan. I'm not a fan of the way Copper Knob makes their top 10, top 100, because it's based on how many times it gets clicked and opened. I'm not. That's plain and simple. Now, if someone posts a woman from Line Dancer Web while I open it, there's a chance. depends on what it is. Depends on the song. Now, I will open. Hold on. He's a line dancer web, etc. I will absolutely open a line dancer web if it's a song that I see. That I possibly could have been on my list. I want to see what it is. If it's someone I know, I want to see what they're writing to. I go to a lot of events. I do a lot of stuff with events. I'm constantly, recording videos for at events. I DJ some events, teach. So yeah, I am constantly looking at dances and looking at step sheets. Absolutely constantly looking at them. Do I open them on Copper Knob? Not a chance. Unless it's someone I know and I want to give them a click. Nope. And that's because that top 10, as you see scrolling across the bottom, if you can tell me out there in dance land that you recognize every dance in this top 10 because you know where they came from, you obviously scrolled through Copper Knob, because there's a couple that made the top 10 that I'm like, Jonathan says, OMG, you're the first person I've ever known that uses line dancer. I use it when I don't want to give someone a click, John. I will use it constantly when I don't want to give someone the automatic push into the top 10.
I like Vivian's comment.
I did too, but I'm gonna read Guyton's first.
Oh, okay.
Guyton says it comes down to how much you hang out with event directors. I've seen people who just hang out with the main crowd, event directors, or as you always said, the A-listers. He said it, not me. Nicely done. And Dustin did just say social media works. You can teach locally. We have our TikTok hits randomly, but those aren't necessarily going to blow a person up either. I disagree, because here's the thing. I'm going to use two examples. There was a dance, and I'm not sure. I haven't read the top 10 in Copper Knob today, even though I was typing it. I got asked about fire burning the other day. Randomly, they said, someone messaged me, have you seen this fire burn? It was like top 2 or top 3 in Copper Knob views randomly last week, and they said it was a popular hit TikTok dance. And then Toxic. Toxic was a big, and I know it's big in the bars down here. It's big in the country bar, country swing scene. Toxic was someone that blew up on TikTok, on social media, and the person who wrote it, Bree, just got to do a shoot with the artist Chase McDaniel in Nashville. So yeah, it can work. It depends on, one, again, how well you can handle the social media. But we're going to go back to Vivian's comment. I know you brought it up, Timmy. It says, I'm late and not sure if anyone mentioned it, but one of the best ways to get one's dance out is if the A-listers pick it up and take it on the road. What dance do we know that did that?
Yeah.
Right off the rip. Lonely Drum.
Lonely Drum. Yeah.
Lonely Drum.
I mean, that is a perfect example of how that can happen. But
absolutely.
Again, I'm going to throw this, because I know you love a bit of controversy. It's hard to get that. I know it's hard to get that if you're not recognized, because it happens once you've had one or two. So I can think of, Joey Warren picked up Tick Tick Boom that I did with Deb and JP, but Deb and JP, in my view, were far more established than I was. Deb certainly. And Joey took that to, I think, the marathon and taught it there, and that went massive. I did Strip That Down with Maggie. Maggie has a million followers, and it was a good dance. Again, that went huge. Rachel did headphones. She taught headphones last year.
Right, literally right after y'all releases, she taught it at Fun in the Sun.
Yeah, yep. So that for me was probably the first time that was one of a dance that I would consider sort of got merit through my name as well as Rebecca's, and Rachel took that, and that made that dance huge. I mean, it's gone down brilliantly, but that makes a massive difference. If you get an A-lister to pick up your dance and tour it really does just set it on fire. But then that comes back to what I said earlier, which is that's because people trust that name. So if they're teaching at an event and they go, I've got this dance for you from this person that I think this is a good dance, you'll go, cool, well, if you think it's a good dance, it's definitely going to be a good dance. So it comes back to that same premise again of having a name that you can trust.
Oh no, absolutely. I remember when the first person called me and they taught Honky Tonk Highway. And then my little bit, it does help.
I saw a video of that. I think Megan posted it of
Megan posted a video the other day of a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Another buddy, Kevin Richards from up in the Northeast, posted he is doing it. So, no, absolutely. That's a great way, and Paul, and I'm going to touch on this one too, because Paul just said out there, there's also a whole lot of quick choreos done. I mean, a lot, and I'm speaking from a place of not fully engaged in the social world anywhere near as much as I used to be. But I see a lot of dances that haven't been choreographed with soul. Movements without soul is just going through the motions. Yeah, and we talked about this. I did a show, and we were talking about the amount of dances still being released on a regular basis. And during COVID, it was massive. Absolutely, just constantly dances thrown out there, and everyone's like, "Well, choreographers still need a place to be creative." Go back to your repertoire. Go back to the dances that no one knows. I see these a lot, and I mean a lot, where people go, "We don't know the classics." They'll get to 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and they're wondering what these 20, 30 people on the floor are doing. And
Yeah.
teach a classic, teach some of these dances. But wait, no. When event directors put them on the schedule, instead of going to the classic teach, they're dying to learn that new dance that's just being released by someone. So they're going to learn the new hot possibility of a brand new release instead of going to learn a classic by Joe or Rachel or someone like
Yeah.
that.
But this
You know?
this this for me is something we spoke about this, and this again going to that from that position of getting a choreography notice, getting that first booking at an event to creating that experience. So I'm going to use a couple of examples. So let's look at ones that got really popular really quick, right? So they were good dancers anyway. Portland Shah. I've watched the video back of when that got taught. That room was on fire, and people were just having an amazing time. Same as what was the one that was done at the experience? Joey, Gemma, Shane, Fred.
Oh, well,
Uh,
wasn't that what the France? No.
no, no, no,
What was
no.
that? Watch the tempo.
Samba. Watch the
Watch the
tempo.
tempo.
That
Yep.
room was on fire when that was taught because the teach of that dance was faultless and fun.
Hold on. What are both dances you just mentioned have in common?
They're multi choreographer as well, so
Nope.
there's lots of
Nope.
names you
There's
can
one other.
cast.
Nope. Well, that's besides the point. That's a great
Ah,
actually
ha
aspect.
ha ha ha,
They,
yes. Go
they
on,
were
what's the other
both
one? I'm missing it.
there wasn't another option for anybody at the event to learn.
True, very true. Oh, that makes me feel even better about the third one I was going to say, which was my own. Absolutely, blowing my own trumpet. But headphones, when I did that at Eurodance, and I'm not afraid to say I got proper emotional because I was not expecting it. The room just erupted after I finished teaching that dance. Like for about 2 minutes, people were just clapping. It's like I've never experienced anything like it in my life, and it was a real that for me. If anyone ever came to me and said, is it worth doing choreography? If I could give them that moment to like put them in my body and go, tell me if this is worth it. Tell me if all the stress at home, finding the music, getting the teach bang on, literally sweaty palms. Joey talks about walking a mile in his shoes. Joey and I had a great laugh when we were down in New
So,
Orleans last year because we both pace for about an hour before our teach comes up. But it is so worth it for that moment. Flipping heck,
so
that was amazing.
I got a question for you, and I want your take on it because actually seeing Miss Barcelia in the comments about this made me brought this up because she gets they're all taught at big events. Yeah, I know I've been given this advice by people. Megan's been given this advice by people, and it's by two different groups of people, and there's two different contradicting advices. On one hand, someone turns around and says the way to get yourself out there and get known is you need to have that one big dance that just blows up. You need to work on writing that one dance that gets blown up. Someone else turns around and by yourself. Now you have to write it by yourself with your name
Yeah.
on it and your name on it only. Other big name choreographer turn around and says you need to make sure you write with everybody humanly possible.
Okay. I can give you some advice that I was given, and it is exactly the opposite. So I was told, and listen, it's in the middle of this. I'm happy to co-choreograph with anyone. I think what needs to come out of it, and I think this is actually the devil that's in the detail, is there's a difference between trying to put as good choreography out there to try and get noticed, and absolutely saturating and thinking, well, if I throw enough, something will stick. I think the first step is
Spaghetti
the music.
choreography.
Yeah,
Spaghetti
well, the
choreography.
first step's the music.
Throw it to the wall.
There's no sense in using music. Certainly, as an up and comer, there's no sense in using music that is already established on another. I've said this to you before. It's a real American thing, and I really hope I don't offend anybody. But writing that same dance that's already filling a floor and it's written as an intermediate or even an improver, and then naming it as easy, it just I, I get the premise, but I think if you're looking to create, then it needs to be you're creating, right? So you want to be individual when you create. That's the whole point. You're creating your style, your everything should be coming out. So pick a bit of track that no one's done. If you can co-choreograph with someone, that's great, but don't do it from a perspective of thinking, well, if I choreograph with this person, it's going to be a big hit, because if that's not the mindset, it needs to be, I'm going to co-choreograph with this person, and hopefully I can learn something if they'll allow me to do it with them. But go with the track, go with the ideas, and just hope for the best. Don't think it's an immediate run to the finish line. It's the same as, the Ed Sheeran track comes out and let's choreograph to that because everyone loves Ed Sheeran, and then before you know it, you've got I lost count of how many
Oh,
dances to the same track.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There are, like Megan just said, there's enough songs out there. Absolutely, there's enough songs out there. But yet we still have dances written on top of on the daily. And this is there's one thing to this, and I love it when people did it, because I just saw it today, and I want to message the person, like, you realize that someone's been posting it into 27 groups. Someone posted a dance to this song over the last week in like 27 different groups on Facebook, and I know you're a part of at least 10 of them, so I know you've seen it. But and you turn around and you say to someone, you know that you have a dance. There's a dance to that. There's a big name dance to it already. There's a dance being done for years about it. Oh no, we don't. I'm not on social media, but yet how I saw that you wrote a dance to it was the fact that you posted on social media. So don't tell me you don't know how to use, because I used to get yelled at this on the radio show all the time. Oh, they don't know about Copper Knob. Then why are they posting on Copper Knob? If they don't
Can
care
I
about Pop Knob and views, why are they posting their dance on Copper Knob? No one's good. No retirement person is going to go to Copper Knob just because that's where all you teach. Come on.
Mama P's just put the best comment, and I do agree with it. I do agree with it. She's put, in the real world, you get to the top, i.e., A-lister, by how much effort you put into it. It's like you go to university and study and get grades. I totally agree. It's exactly what Guyton said. You don't start off being the best in the world, so don't expect to be brilliant at the beginning. A athlete isn't an athlete at the start. They're just someone that really wants to get into that. And I think, for me, I went to did a lot of social, as I said to you, but I would start to pay attention to how the likes of Fred would control the class, or certainly Rachel. I'd watched Rachel loads, and because I still don't know anyone outside of Joe, in fairness. Joe and Rachel, and Maddie's got that same skill set too. Just how they operate the crowd. It's always so easy. It's so fun. It's so effortless earning the dance, and it's because they know that dance inside out, back to front, and whatever. They're not stressing about what are the next 8 counts. They're so relaxed on that stage that it comes out. And so I'm watching these people going, I need to learn to do this. And and then unashamedly, it's a lot of practice at home. It's looking like a crazy person in your front room talking to yourself. This is,
Oh, agreed.
Nina's got used to this now. She comes home, I'm talking to myself as if I'm teaching people, and she'll just look in the room and be like, "Hi." She knows now. At first she was like, "What are you doing?" And I had to explain, "Look, this is the only way I know how is to
It's
is to
the
practice."
practice, right? Um, where the comment I just saw? Hold on. I just saw one, and Paul just says, one of the things I feel stuck with me that Guyton told me once was, we were chatting, was, we're here to challenge and we're here to inspire when we choreograph. It's helped me evolve for sure, and I try to remind myself, no matter what level I'm creating for, of that specific advice. It's true. But so here's my thing, and you said this earlier because you said you were horrible at it. Pete, there's two main ways, and this goes back to what we're talking about, how to as an up and comer, because there's multiple different views of this. There's when you write for the bar, if you're writing for a bar and local class, for an event and stuff like that, you can either enter a choreography competition, or you can post it in 475 million posts about it. And we talked about this earlier, and this is what bugs me. So you remember during COVID when everybody was releasing dances, and the same couple copper knobs still going crazy. Dances were getting pushed out at an all time high, and there's a couple from Canada that knocked off Roy and them, and it started
Little heat.
a little heat. There was the pictures made with boxing gloves and talking about prize fighting and stuff like that. That someone KO'd the king and all that like that. I remember the pictures getting tossed around,
Yeah.
and I remember the talks and the topics, and everyone was so upset. Everyone was so upset that this random, to the rest of the world unknown, choreographers were number one on Copper Knob. It bugs me to ask, why were they upset? Because those same two choreographers currently are number one on Copper Knob with an absolute beginner dance with Ira Weisberg.
Hmm.
And magically, no one is saying anything. No one says anything when all the A-listers post 10 in 10 different groups about their step sheet being released, or their step sheet being on Copper Knob, or their dance hitting this position on Copper Knob. But yet when an up don't even remember the names. Don't even remember the names of the dances involved. I don't remember the dances at all either, Chris. I remember the names of the people. I can't pronounce them to save my life.
But
But
I think, yeah, I mean that's a
everyone
viewing
gets
thing.
upset with a new person posting in 15, 20 groups a day. But they don't get upset when someone that's up here already are sitting there and pushing it. I don't. What's the difference? Is it's okay
Name you
for
trust.
but
A
why?
name you trust. Because
So
then
it's
it's a
okay
dance
for a
that you
name
can
you trust to
teach.
post 20 times a day, but not a name you don't trust. How did
I think, yeah, I just think, and it's not even that I distrust, is it? I mean,
no,
that'd be a bit
no,
strong, but
that's the
just
thing.
because you're just someone you just don't know, and I
You
think
just
people becoming, I can't even think people becoming endeared to that person if it's someone they know well, because you get to meet these people, and again, this goes all the way back to the beginning of the conversation, where as part of that, and I think someone put it in the comments, having a personality and being seen and known is a part of it. It is, and it's like I'm going to use Maddie as an example because I don't think I've ever not seen Maddie with a smile on her face every time I see her. So whenever um, I always like to think that's just me, but it's not. But so whenever she released the dance, you just know, okay, well that's going to be good. And you see the teach, and the teach is always great. And then so again, there's a name you trust. So that's if you do that comparison to a person who has released 10 dances this month, I've not heard of them. You get that dismissive like, oh well, they're just trying to become a name. And yeah, they are. But equally, and I'm no disrespect, but Maddie at some point was trying to become a name. Fred at some point was trying to become a name.
right.
It's
How they
it's
become?
and
How they become a name?
back round we go.
Right. Someone had to give them a chance. Because here's the thing: back then, when Maddie was trying to become a name and Fred was becoming a name, they weren't. They weren't at the top of their game. They weren't. They weren't the best instructors out there at that point. They were new. They were new to doing it. They were new to traveling the world 40 weekends a year.
Yeah, that's hard
So
work, man.
Rebecca just said, and this is one topic that she had messaged me about. She goes, the hour went by fast. Yes, it did, as I just looked down at the time. She goes, any thoughts on someone getting a dance out who maybe isn't in the circuit scene, maybe of a bar line dancer, teacher, choreographer, social media for sure. If you look at social media nowadays, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, that is definitely how you're gonna get your dance out there, because that's where the people who dance in those, that's where they're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, Jen's put, Tim might have been right directly at the beginning, luck. And
Yeah,
to a degree, it is.
it
There's
is.
these different avenues you can take. So, the competition circuit, but as you say, you've got to be ready to teach because the prize is a teaching slot.
Right.
You could post it onto every uh, dance sheet, website, copper knob, blind dancer, kick it, whatever you want to put it on, and hope that somebody picks it up. I think honestly, that's a harder route because you're just going to have to magically hope that somebody picks it up because it's likely going to be a track that nobody's ever heard of from in amongst a thousand other sheets that have been uploaded that week. It's going to be really, really tough. For me, I think local instruction is a really good avenue to start. Get If you can get a few people behind you that go, hey, listen, this person has taught their dance. It's good. They're a good teacher. It's You should try it, and then you get the opportunity to perhaps do that at a more sort of local event, maybe like the smaller weekends that happen, and then then use social media at that point. There's no sense. My solid bit of advice is that somebody else gave me, and it's so true. And if you watch it, it's quite smart how people do it now. There's no sense sort of videoing yourself, you know, somewhere nice doing it. What you really need is you on a stage teaching it and a lot of people dancing it with you, because then people will look at the video and go, oh, there's people that already know this dance. Okay, well maybe it's worth learning then. It's quite
Yep.
a smart bit of work, and I've noticed that more people are doing that now, going, oh, look, here's me at this event teaching it with loads of people behind me. Um, Less so for A-listers because again, there's that whole name you trust thing. But I think it's a really good way of sort of showing that it also shows the dance is accessible because it's not just you doing it; it's you and the other people who've all hopefully got it as well. And then it
Uh,
comes back to being a good teacher.
yeah. It all comes down to it. And I posted this. I posted this on YouTube. I commented about it in the live show, and I believe it was Vivian that said this as well on the show I did the other day. It all comes down to someone's got to give you a chance.
Yeah,
Someone's got to
100%,
give you a chance.
100%.
You know, you can have a packed floor of people doing your dance, if and still not get hired anywhere. It's
Yep.
gonna it could happen.
But
It
again,
could. It,
do you want to be hired or do you want to be a choreographer? Because if you want to be hired, you're going to need to be a teacher. Because you're not going to be hired to be, because as you've said to me, or I think it might have been on one of your podcasts, you're not you're not being hired at an event as a choreographer because you're not choreographing
yes.
at that event. You are coming to teach at that event and give a bit of your personality, and
Yep.
people get to interact and talk, and you get to dance. That's what we're all there for. You get to dance together because the likelihood of me outside of this potentially going to, I don't know, Australia to dance outside of being invited is pretty rare. Um, so it's that part of it as well, which again comes back to the whole personality thing.
Megan just
Brandon
said
said,
something.
"Be humble."
I was told the opposite. The
Opposite
opposite of
of
what?
opposite of what? Oh, tender hooks.
Now I'm really curious. Brandon
Cody
says, "Be
Flowers
humble,
has
have a good
joined as well.
attitude, and make sure people like being around you."
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
That's
definitely.
Paul James. Just don't be a dude. Well, that depends. We all know that doesn't.
Uh, the crossover. Oh, that's a little question for you as whilst we're waiting for this. So, how do you see the difference in choreography? Because I did, as you know, because you were there, when I came to Florida, I had to judge a choreography competition, and
Yep.
some of the entries came from the bar scene, and I judged it based
Yep.
on the circuit, really, as it's known in the States. So based on, what I would consider to be the line dance world. Whereas when I then looked at the scores from some of the other judges who were from the States, they'd scored it slightly differently. And I found that really interesting. So I sort of sat back and was like, okay, maybe did I get this wrong? But I was scoring it from a circuit perspective. So what if somebody's in the bar scene watching this and wants to get out in the bar scene? What do you do there?
Well, and see, this is a hard one because there's a huge crossover in that over here. If you, at least in most bars, um, we do a lot of event dances at our bars. At least Florida did. I know there's plenty that go around all over. Kite, you're screwed. But nowadays, there's a lot. Like if you walk into the barn in Sanford at any given time, you could hear 10 circuit dances that are done back to back to back, right in a row, and never bat an eye. Um, that's just the way it is. So there's the way a choreography competition is judged is definitely a different topic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Jessica just says, good point. Newbies should not do this and that, but that when someone of the well-known do the same thing, it's okay. Like using tracks already used, choreograph in 10 minutes, all dances not even fitting the music, using the same sets of steps over and over again and more. She goes, Megan just answered that because we were curious what she was saying when she said she was told the opposite. She goes, I was told that people show up to learn the dance from the choreographer. Example, people show up to the events to dance and learn the choreography from Fred, not someone teaching Fred stuff. If that was the case, half of our choreographer, no, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree with that because this goes back to the whole everyone we talked about on that only wanted to see videos of the choreographer, but yet videos that are done by other people have more views. If that was the case, half of the instructors wouldn't have jobs.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
but I still think the actual point is like using your example, like Fred he's not being paid at that event to choreograph a dance. He's being paid to teach his choreography. So ultimately, he's there as a teacher. Now, I think, yeah, and I've heard the same. People often say, "Oh, I want to learn it from the choreographer," but that's because the choreographer would be like, "Oh, when I wrote it, this happened," or "There's this little tip." I know Scott Blevins is quite big on giving little tips, and
Right.
again, using the G-man because he's in the comments. Like you'd only want to learn from Guyton because anyone else, when they're trying to sort of teach you like a pace and a roll, they'd be like,
Right.
"Well, what you're going to do is bring your hand up here and whack yourself in the face," rather than
And see, I think that on this one though, here's the problem. Fred can't be everywhere.
no.
Shane can't be everywhere.
And as you keep saying, they're not going to be around forever.
So what you're saying is no one should teach a Fred Whitehouse dance if Fred Whitehouse is not on the schedule? Come on. Do you think anybody's dances would get known by everybody if no one else was teaching their dances? Lonely Drum, no offense, I'll throw back to this one. Lonely Drum would not exist if Madison Glover did not come over here and teach it. Yes, Darren Mitchell wrote it. Shout out to Darren Mitchell, great guy. Got to meet him online when we were doing Line Dance Radio. Got to talk to him, got to chat. Great guy, great dance. But if that was not, if that wasn't the case, Madison brought Lonely Drum over here, taught it. We would never have saw it. We wouldn't have seen it for 6 to 8 months later, and it never would have got to the size it did. It's just that simple. Like you just said.
Can we also use Lonely Drum as proof that you don't need a 98 million count dance advance to make it huge?
Well,
I mean,
that's
it's
true.
Literally
But like
really
you
simple
just
steps, but great dance.
like you just said, look at the vibe.
Yeah.
You've taught it in person one time, and it wasn't even on the schedule to be taught that weekend. It got big because everyone else taught it. You taught it online, then everyone else and their mother taught it. It's that simple, guys. Listen, people go to, yes, when an event releases a staff, I get it.
Guyton's talking about coming back, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
It's in writing.
I'll come back and teach their stuff. But like, here we go. If we turn around and we didn't have a staff, let's say an event announced a staff of 6 instructors, okay, or 6, or let's use someone bigger. Let's use a dance like Windy City, okay, 20-something instructors, okay, 20-something instructors. Are we going to only see dances done by the 20-something instructors that are on that staff? No. Is that what the people want? No. They're going to come to that event regardless of what dances are being taught. Why? Because they saw the staff. They're coming for the people, plain and simple. If you turn around and had 5 workshops, well, I'll use Fred. I'll use Fred as an example. Fred had 5 workshops or 4 workshops, and he taught 3 of his own and decided his last one he's teaching Shane McKeever's dance or someone else's dance. Do you think those people are going to care? No, they want to come hang out with Fred, plain and simple. Not because they're learning a Fred dance, because they want to come hang out with Fred. Period. End of discussion. The way he teaches.
I mean, 5 workshops, you're going to need to feed the boy after that because he's going to be hungry.
No, and that's the point. Paul, I don't have time for the whole alphabet plus tags and restarts if I'm learning a dance.
Love a 32 counter.
But
Yes,
there you
Paul, I'm
go.
with you.
If you turn around and you brought 10, let's have a 10. You can't tell me that for an entire weekend all you're going to want is the dances done by those 10 people. There's going to be a dance or 2, if not more. And that's and that's just how it is. You know, that's how dances get done. We don't need 47 people writing on top of each other. It's just that simple. Just that simple, guys.
Just using like Paul's comment though, because again we touched on this earlier. So I think I asked you the question if you're going to enter a choreography competition.
Well, you did ask me this earlier.
What would get popular? Because from my perspective, if you're going into choreography competition, and even if you did like a solid 32 count, that would probably be really popular if you could get it out there, if you could get that platform.
Well,
It
first of
probably
all,
wouldn't win the comp.
we talked about this earlier, and that's one of the big things. I had 3 different questions I asked you first before I can answer that question. The first one was, what competition is it? What are the parameters? How many divisions? You know, I approach every competition at its own. Like I could approach the USLDCC differently than I approach WDM.
I'm going to give you WDM. We'll go because
WDM. There's 6 divisions, 3 in country, 3 in non-country. I'm bringing 2 dances, one for each side, maybe 3 if I have something that I've written, because WDM also has it shorter time span that it can be written. It can never hit the top 10. I think it is in charts, in any chart. And it all depends on it depends on like how many I have prepared. Am I writing new ones? Am I writing new ones? It depends on, again. But for WDM, no. I'm bringing something I have. I'm bringing something I possibly have already been working on. And bringing 2 solid, because you know what? That's not an amateur choreography competition. That's a pro one.
Yeah,
And
but it's also about getting it noticed, right? So if you had a 32 dance,
I
32
disagree.
count dance,
I disagree. I disagree. WDM is about getting it noticed. And here, the dance notice or the choreographer.
No, to get to win the comp so that you get noticed.
Okay. Can you
your
name
dance
me?
does so you can win it.
Can you name me? Can you name me a dance that's won the overall besides Legends Tonight in the past 10 years? Not yours.
Well, no, because then you've just knocked the 2 out.
Hold on.
Oh wait, no. For the
Besides
what? That's
Legends
an advanced
Tonight.
dance.
What?
That's an advanced dance.
But no, but hold on. That you're supporting my point. You can't tell me a dance that's won the overall besides
There
your
was
own.
Shay's one.
Okay, you danced it. Yes.
Yeah,
Hold
I know.
on. So hold on. 2 and you're on
I
the floor.
remembered it.
Hold on. 2 and you're on the floor. Nobody remembers the dances.
It's true. That
Like
is
I
quite
can
true.
go through this, and I thought of this earlier. Besides me out there, I don't know many people who can name every dance that's won the USLDCC every year. Why? Because if you look at it, the winning dance from overall is not necessarily what was remembered. There's
Did
been
Chris
dances
not win
throughout
that
the
one?
year that's remembered. Year 2 Love them both to death. Darcy DeAngelis and Kayla Cosgrove did it.
Jason, Lie to Me by Amy Carter. We did that dance for 8. That was a
Yeah.
great
Okay.
dance.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So one, we can name one besides
We can
Legends
name
Tonight.
one.
There you go.
And
But
Legends
that's my
Tonight was like
point.
fire though. That thing went everywhere. Like
It
flipping
did.
heck.
She brought it. I remember her teaching it at Boston the year after she won because she came to Boston. I remember because I got to hang out with her and she taught it at Boston. But that's my point. If you look at like, I'll use year 2 as an example. Darcy and Kayla both made it to the final 3. Okay, of that year. If you look at it, though, the most popular dance that came out of that entire season was Pieces.
Which isn't. I mean, that's still around now.
That's
Like
my
check
point.
Dustin out.
But that's my point. The dance is not what is getting promoted. The other thing, I know we've ran way over the hour, guys. So you're getting a little bonus material right now. As Jason says, you're welcome. I think it was just slightly too difficult to have a lot of staying power, but loved it. But yeah,
It was great.
I
It was
remember
so good.
it was a great dance. It was an absolute phenomenal dance. People who don't release the dances before the competition, this one always threw me because they hold it back. I never understood this. They hold it back, hold it up, hold it back, and they're like, here, boom. They wait till they get to the competition. Hey, here's what I'm releasing. Here's the thing. Once the dances are entered, once the dances are due, it's that simple. Dances are due 2 weeks before. Step sheets are due. Why not post it? Why not put it on Copper Knob? Here you go. Here you go, guys. This is what you're going to have to dance against. This is what you're going to have to beat. If the whole point is to get it exposure, what's going to be better if 2 weeks into an event, you go into an event and everybody already knows your dance?
Yeah,
That crowd's going to be
music.
cheering. Right. That crowd's going to be cheering. You know, I remember this at the very first USLDCC competition. The very first USLDCC competition, Gail Dawson had done the this bare bones beginner dance, great dance. I forget. It had to do with butts, and it was getting taught. It got taught the night before the competition.
Pete Shuffle.
But it got Lisa Johns Gross taught it the night before the competition. It was on the schedule to get taught. She wasn't teaching it. Someone else taught her dance. Crowd went nuts the next day. Guess what dance won that division?
Yeah. But not wishing to cliche, think about all the ones that have done. I was just thinking. So Amy's Lie to Me, the music was brilliant. Legends Tonight, the music was brilliant. Shay's, I think it was called Up in Here. That music was brilliant. The one Gemini did, the music was brilliant. All of them had really, like, the minute the music started, I remember when we did that demo, because one, I've never been so nervous in my entire life, but two, because I just remember the whole crowd just started clapping along with the music. And the same happened with Legends Tonight. I remember watching it, and I was with the guys from Lakeside, and I said, this is the winner. Like, Mark and Chris had barely made one step, and I was like, this is the one. This is going to be it. This is the one to beat. Because immediately it just was like, you could feel the room, just enjoy the music immediately.
But we're talking 2-3 years down the line, and those dances aren't getting done.
No, it's a shame too, because it's good choreography. A lot of effort goes into that.
Right, but that's my point. You're not looking. I think a competition like that, it's looking for the instructor. I think any choreography competition that has a spot where it's a teaching spot, it's not necessarily about the dance that wins, because like we said this before, and we said this in the show, you're trying. Guyton said that's because there's too many dances out there now. Totally agree with you. You're trying to impress 5 judges. You're trying to impress 5 judges that have totally different choreography styles. That just because those 5 judges don't like your dance, does that make it a bad dance? No. That just means those 5 pros didn't like your style.
J- Jason making the point there. That's it, that's the point I'm getting at. So some music and dances definitely have a better presence when they're shown live. There is more palpable energy. Yes, and this is what I was saying about going to that competition with a 32 count dance that might be a bigger floor filler if you were able to just have a teaching slot or a known name versus taking that to a choreography competition where it might dwindle next to something like Legends Tonight, where it is an absolute, the whole room just sees it uh, and erupts. It's
Yeah, but
hard. It's really
but do
hard
you
to
think
pick
it?
from.
Okay, but hold on here. Let's go back to this one. Oh, and Valerie just gave me the dance. Thank you. All about that bass. The song,
Ah,
all about that bass. Megan Trainor. Thank you.
I'm not saying,
But
I'm not saying guys comment. You can say
no, I'm not saying it either. But
that.
but he's got a point. And this is the thing, and this is I kind of use this to I use this to my advantage a lot of the times with how I pick the dances that I entered. You know, I can look I can look at a USLDCC event and look at the staff for the most part and know who's going to be the judge.
See, there's an advantage for you traveling so many events and knowing
Yeah, but no
those
offense,
names and people.
but here's the thing: any person, and this should be common sense, though. This should be common sense. If someone, like you said, is attending events, is doing their homework, and everyone hates that word homework,
Gotta do it.
watching everything, attending, they should know by now. You know, they should be able to look at a schedule and be like, okay, this is probably going to be a judge. Here's a judge. Here's a judge. Stuff like that. And Megan just made a great point, and this has happened to me. And John and I talked about this on the podcast a couple back. She goes, I've had the same judges give me a different opinion the second time they judged the dance when I changed nothing.
Ooh, I'm gonna read this out because I know you're gonna
It's
say what I'm
Paul's.
gonna say.
It's Paul's
Yeah.
comments, is it? And I actually love this idea.
Is this not Chicago though, right? Because if you get into
It's,
the finals, you
but
you
hold on,
teach it to.
but they still know the choreographer. So
Oh,
Chicago in the finals, the
I
5 of them are
see.
dancing, but you know which one wrote it. But you have five performers with you. And the comment we're talking about says, what would be fun? This is by my buddy Mr. Paul. If like a selection of A-listers all taught a dance from different entrants, and the judges don't know who has choreographed them, like they're judging blind. Boom, you're welcome. Change the game once again. I've said this for years. I've said this for years. If you take an up and comer, no one knows it, don't tell them. Have an A-lister release the dance as an unknown choreographer. I guarantee you it'd be a totally different ballgame.
It would be really interesting. It's like a whole new pro-am division.
I but I think it is. I think Paul made a great point there. As Leslie said, Darren, I can safely say, brother man, because he says checking in to listen to everyone tell me what a bad judge I am. There are 2 people that have probably judged the competition more than anybody, and I've sat there. I've been to every USLDCC competition but 2, the last 2 Hotlantas. I can tell you right now, you are probably one of the best 2. And I would have to say you and John Robinson are hands down probably the best 2 judges we have. There's a reason why both of you are usually head judge at different comps. You are not, because you take it you take it seriously. You absolutely take this seriously and take it like, and what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people, and some of y'all don't take this the wrong way, just think it as another 2-hour competition. I'm got stuck sitting here with a score sheet in my hand. But what you don't realize is that competition, especially the one at Marathon, could change someone's life. They're doing this to
Yeah.
follow in their dream. and this your opinion on it, and not just turn around. Um, you could easily change someone's life easily, because guess what? If they turn around it just that couple different spots could make a huge difference in the fact that you pay attention to those little things. And I know I talked to Fred about the competition at Marathon, and we were chatting about different things and how it is. And back to what I was saying before, and like Darren just says, yep, it could be career changing. I can look at a staff and more than likely tell you who's going to judge. More than likely, at least in the USLDCC, I can tell you who's going to be the judge. WDM guys, if whoever's competing at WDM, you could probably force a habit because there's so much competition. You know, of certain people that won't be able to judge it.
Now Darren's here though, can we talk about him?
Adam just said,
Only because you said something really nice about him earlier, that's all.
Adam just says, well, perhaps unpopular opinion, but from what I noticed from choreography competition is that often feels like a game of tactics. You are not wrong. If
No,
judges let
hang on.
too many people through that potentially would climb real quick, let's say they have the skills like choreography, teaching, personality, and dancing, they will not let that person win because that could pose a threat.
Oh, opposite to what I'm. Oh, okay, that didn't go the way I was
That's
thinking.
not where I thought it was going either. What I mean is that the new persons that they let through sooner or later take the spots, aka the bookings, if they come especially after that initial push. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, most of the because the good thing about having now sort of done this and done a bit of little bit of touring, you get to talk to the other choreographers, and actually, most of them are actually crying out for new talent. Most of them are, want to see the next up and comer. There's very few actually that are of an opposite opinion. Kelly, I feel like you're desperate to say something. Sorry.
because they might say that publicly, but I'm going to go with no because one, like Adam said, it could take their bookings. They could hire them instead of them. They could lose a job. Two, for those that are out there event directors, they're not going to pay them.
That's a whole nother thing.
They're not going to pay them at all. And you know that. They're thinking, oh, they haven't earned it. Chris Jocks let the short kid win. He's not a threat. Charlotte says, aren't we talking about choreography, a hit dance, and getting booked? Don't forget us old timers. What's old timer have to do with anything? I'm way older than most people that compete. There's a couple people older than me, but I'm way older than most of them. I don't understand what that comment at all. Paul's like, and with that, I believe work here is done. Peace be with you. And see you at WDM, boys. Yes, sir. 2 weeks. 2 weeks
Yes,
from
you
today,
will.
we will be there. 2 weeks from today, I land. It starts. They don't hire us anymore. They don't hire nobody anymore. It had nothing to do with your age.
Yeah, you nearly got into another dangerous topic that was in your controversial conversation there about like they're not going to pay them.
Oh, well, that's the thing. But they don't hire. It doesn't have anything to do with old timers. They don't hire the new ones either. They hire the same people. I don't think that age has nothing to do with it because there are plenty of people that are over the age of me that still get hired.
Can I pick Willie's comment because I totally agree with him here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know John Robinson actually mentioned it in your thing, and I know that I was one
Yep.
of those people because I also sat next to John. So Willie's comment says, I was judging this year at Fort Wayne, sitting next to John Robinson. I learned a lot watching and discussing what he was looking for in regard to the dance and the music. I had exactly the same conversation with him, Willie, when I was in Florida because I was interested,
Agreed.
and he is brilliant for that. I have to absolutely hats off. I spent a lot of time with John with you when we were in Florida that year, and Nina and Kelly, and it was
I
great
still
to
remember
spend
us
that.
walking through the outlet malls, huddled around your
Yeah,
phone,
this
listening to the CBA announcement.
that
I
but it
still
was
remember that, and all of us giving the same look to each other, like, "What?"
Really? Yeah, did they just say that? But no,
Yeah,
John is a fountain of knowledge, and actually, it was great to spend some time with him and sort of listen to his views. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in a couple of weeks, actually, and sort of just hanging out a bit. Because yeah, Willie, I agree. He's phenomenal at that. Really good at that.
absolutely. I think like that's why I talked about it and brought it up. John, there's a reason why he's head judge over and over and over again. There's a reason why so many of us talk to him and get advice from him. It's just he's phenomenal on that, and he's willing to talk to anybody like about any topic, especially the next generation, because like he even said, everybody's not going to be around forever, guys. I understand you love everybody. I get it. I get it. I, I hated watching it. I know he's left and he won't get to hear this until he watches the replay, but I was there. I was there at the first event guy announced his retirement. I remember that moment fondly when he put his shoes in the middle of the floor. I remember the last event he ever did in Florida. Did I want to see him retire? No. One of my closest friends, one of my best friends. Guy is like a brother to me. He's one of the main reasons why I'm in dance. Known him for 20 plus years. There's reasons he was in my wedding. But it happens. Life goes on. People's lives change.
Yeah. And I think COVID did a lot of that because people realized that, dancing's great all the time you can dance. But what
Yeah.
happens when you can't? I was very fortunate. I have a full-time job outside of this, and it's where I'm sat talking to you right now, is in the office at my house. Um, and so, but I think a lot of people realize that actually I need a backup. I need a steady full-time job. I know, my bro JP, I think, has probably gone to bed now because he has to get out really early because he has a really good job now.
Yeah.
But he said to me the other night, he's feeling it with doing the events and having a full-time job. I said, yeah, it's really hard. And I hit the same wall last year. So that, going back to the whole topic of up and coming choreographer, do be ready, because if it takes off, does it ever? And it is hard. It's really hard work. It's very different going to an event as an attendee as it is an instructor choreographer. And I know that sounds like a really obvious statement, but it is genuinely surprising how much work goes into making that event run, even when you
Yep.
are there to just do your classes. And it is, you and I have had conversations because we both know this, and we've sat and had family dinner afterwards, all not really saying a lot because we're completely shattered. And I made a joke once online about it, that it's like that scene from Avengers where they talk about going getting shawarma, and they're all just sat there saying, nobody says a word, and they're all just eating food. That is genuinely what it's like going and having dinner with all the other choreographers at sort of Saturday or Sunday after the event. Everybody's completely done.
Yeah. I leave either Monday or Tuesday to head down to Fitz. I'll be there a week. It's just one long week. We start with the setup on Wednesday and it goes until Sunday night. And like Tim says, the family dinner that will get to be had by some of us there on Sunday night, and it kind of started. We call it family dinner, and it started a little while back because it was the same group of people that were always at the end. It was the same 5 or 6 of us that was always there at the end of it. JP, Louie, Big Jim, me and Kelly, John, and we always pick up the people who are still around Sunday night, the select few that have joined us in various cities at various dinners. As Megan says, I love family dinners. Um, it's that nice unwind time. It's that nice downtime where we just get to sit back and realize what it's all craziness, what it is, what it's all about. And a lot of us, and here's the thing, a lot of us don't get the downtime because we turn around and going right back to another event. Like I'll drive home Monday back to Alabama. I'll have Tuesday to do laundry and do a show, and Wednesday we get on a plane to England. And that one's going to be a little different one because I'll get to hang out with my bros and all my lovely WDM family. But I'm going as a competitor this year. I'm not DJing. I'm not working. I'm going strictly as a competitor. So Kelly's going to be doing some stuff, but I'm going to.
You're going just to compete and chill. I like it.
Yeah, chill. You and I both know there's no chill involved.
Yeah. Calvin made a good comment, Calvin Dale. So as someone said, luck and timing. It
Yeah.
is
Oh,
it
absolutely.
really it's so that I've judged a dance that didn't win, and we criticised it as it wasn't phrased, etc., etc. It went on to become the biggest dance in Australia and is a classic Aussie dance. Yeah. I mean, the moral for me is there are things you can do to help get it out there, and that is you can compete, you can social media, um, good music, but it does come down to luck and timing, and that for me, what it was luck and timing. I think for the dancers that have got out there that I've done, the vibe was luck. Tick Tick Boom was a bit of timing. I also got to teach it over in Estonia because I was out there as a
Yep.
dancer, and it was when I don't know if everyone remembers when Roy tore his muscle in his leg,
Yep. I
that then went
remember
on
that.
to take a long time to heal, and it was meant to teach. And him and Fiona had gone to hospital, and I said, look, I've got this dance, I can teach it, and I had the opportunity to go and teach there, and that went really well. And then that led to another booking, as did then going to an event in France and just dancing in France again. I was just there as a dancer. Fred was there, Rachel was there, and that's the place we actually wrote Tick Tick Boom, and that I got a booking then to go and do Festiline. And then when I did Festiline, I released I Love It Magusta, and that then led to another booking. And so it kind of, once it gets going, it really does start to steamroll on. But yeah, definitely luck and timing.
Yeah. As all my dragons, Maddie, Megan, and Jen said they're going to be cheering me on from back in the States. They're not going to. Yeah, Maddie's here late like normal. Jason, have a blast at WDM. Jessica, good luck. Thank you guys. Adam says, best of luck with the competition. Perhaps we'll compete in the same heat. I'm not competing in choreography, Adam. I dance pro-am during the choreography competition. So I am not competing in choreography at all at WDM. I'm only doing pro-am advanced on it's now Saturday morning, and then according to the schedule, and then my line solos on Sunday.
Uh,
So, but yeah, good luck to everyone competing in the choreography competition. I know Mr. Johnson's going to be in there watching that
yeah,
thing.
definitely.
Yeah, no, I thought it was choreography. Nope, not doing choreography. Best luck with Army. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky with everything going on. With everyone else dancing, not going to get to dance with Rachel, but I would say I have a good, very competent person dancing with me in pro am.
Love it.
I'm pretty lucky. I'm going to I'm going to get to step on the floor with the lovely soon to be Mrs. Hadazabrodo, Fiona Murray. So looking definitely looking forward to that one. It was funny because I just shared a video of last year at WDM where I got to, and as we've gone, I can't believe it's already been an hour and a half on this show. You're not going to want to get up for work tomorrow because it's late for you.
Yep. Yeah, I got to get
Uh,
up really early. I got like 300 miles to drive tomorrow. I've got to go and
oh
see like
man,
three different
but
three different sites.
my 2022 was pretty baller. I got to start it off by doing the CBAs, dancing at the CBAs in the show with Joe, and got to dance with the Queen. Before that, I won UCWDC Worlds for choreography with John. Got to marry my best friend and my lovely better half. And before that, I got to DJ at WDM, and then got asked to dance, and I danced in the Saturday night show with the rest of the staff and instructors and Country Vibe. That was a phenomenal feeling, getting to step on the floor at Winter Garden on Saturday night in that show, and now I get to go back and get to do it as a competitor Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Steven, then are you going to Pro-Am at South Bay? No, sir. I will not be doing Pro-Am in the UCWDC. Sorry about that. And South Bay, I'm actually in Nashville the weekend of your event. I am at the Experience. So what's says that? Everyone said, "What's sleeping? You don't need sleep, Tim. Come on.
I know.
You
Adam,
still got
Adam's
time
like
for
4 hours. That
we
is a
still got time
standard
for more
dance
Fortnite
weekend.
games, right?"
All in. I'm all in.
So guys, I
Oh,
hope you
Michelle's
enjoy.
just joined. Look, so Michelle's. We can't leave now. Miss Whoop Whoop herself has arrived.
Who relived?
Whoop whoop.
Oh,
Michelle
there
Risley.
she is.
See?
Oh yeah, get to hang out. I'm gonna get to see them in the arena. Couple
There better be
weeks.
flashing lights,
Oh yeah, party.
pom poms, all the
For
things going on
for
in
those
there.
who'd never been, there's not a party quite like the arena party.
This is true.
It is
This is
true.
very true.
Spanish Hall on a Sunday night, maybe, but that's on a Sunday night. But
I think you threatened to tie me to a chair last time. I wasn't allowed to
uh,
leave,
I did threaten. And wait, what happened?
but I did.
You
I got
left.
away.
You left and decided to drive home on a Sunday night.
Yes.
So
Escaped.
let's not let's not even go there. Let's not go there. I threatened, and to be quite fair, I threatened to duct tape you to the chair.
This is true. Leslie's just said it's going to be her first time at World. You're going to love it,
Oh,
honestly.
you're gonna have a
It is.
blast. It all starts Thursday night for everybody coming in early. Good old time at Funny Girls. A little flying handbag action. Tim told me there's a new country bar in Blackpool. Come on,
There is.
how can you
I
not
keep
take?
seeing
How
posts.
can you not take the Americans to the country bar in Blackpool, England, to do a little dancing? That's gonna have to get thrown on. I know you mentioned possibly going to do some go karting on
Definitely
Thursday.
need to do that. Yeah, I found that. That's just
Um,
down the road. That's
right, that's
happening.
what you were saying. So, but yeah, going to be absolutely insane. All starts Friday morning. We got demos right off the rip. You got competition off the rip. Um, I can switch it here. Hold that thought. I got a screen for this. Me and you on the one side,
Oh, look at
coming
this.
up,
Wait, is it this side? Is it? No, it's the other side. It's this
coming
side. Here it
up, guys.
is.
Look at that. 2 weeks from today, we head over. It starts um, 2 weeks from tomorrow with everything. As everyone was like, wait. Willie's like, Cowboy and Company. I might be going before Coney Girls. Jace
If you,
pre-party, I'm in. Yep. Apparently there's a new country bar, guys. We got 2 weeks. Check out the schedule. Check out Steven says fancy. But yeah, man, check out the schedule. Everything starts going to be Friday morning. It's going to be 3 days of craziness. Three
yeah,
absolute days of insanity. I'm looking forward to it. Always one of my, if possibly my favorite event to go to. I love heading over to England every year. Like I said, if the Wi-Fi was better, I would move there.
but
You know,
the Wi-Fi's great. It's brilliant. Look at it. We're talking right now.
but
I'm excited for the Friday. Have you? Because like, if you've not done World Dance Masters before, typically the Friday there's a little
oh
bit in the
yeah,
main ballroom, but then it's mainly up in the Spanish. But it's all in the main ballroom on Friday, so it is going to be that for me is just going to be just a crazy start. Such a big hall, and you
yeah.
can't
Social
appreciate the
Dancing
Winter
with Day
Gardens until
takes
you've been
place
there.
in the Empress Ballroom. Look at that, guys.
Yeah.
That is going to be
Yes.
nuts because they split it. Pro-Am is going to be starter, newcomer, novice, adult. Pro-Am will be Friday night in the Spanish Hall. Saturday and Sunday previews are Friday night, 4 o'clock, 5. And of course, this is all UK time, so it's still early in the day over here, guys. You'll be good. They already got the hours that's going to be determined, who's teaching when. Look at this lineup. Look at this lineup. Rachel kicking off first thing. Guillaume, Niels, Gary, Flo, last year's winner, who will be at Fitz next weekend. Then you got Rachel kicking off Saturday with Madison, Roy, and Fiona, Shane, USLDCC winner Laura Gordon teaching her winning dance Soar. This is just one ballroom. This is just in the Spanish Hall. Sunday morning kicking off with the White House man, Fred, followed by Maddie, Niels, and then
It's good. It's just crazy. It's going to be a great weekend.
oh yeah, dude, it's gonna be off. Not to use a cliche, off the chain.
Off the chain. That was the name of the dance. There it is. That was the name of the dance. That was the name. That was Fred's one. Um, Last thing before, is it worth just mentioning the LDF and the event?
Oh yeah, yeah, guys. Saturday after. I forgot to put it up at the beginning. Saturday after, we are going to be doing LDF Online. Going to be a great fundraiser. Put on. JP Monch has helped organize it. You got Fred and Shane, Willie White Sox Brown, as you hear my dog now barking in the background, Mr. Johnson, Jose Miguel Maloque Vanya, teaching throughout the day. And then, crazily enough, I don't know what JP was thinking.
They've just unleashed you, haven't they?
They unleashed the Kraken August 5th, as Willie says. To end the day, we get a chat with the amazing Helen O'Malley and Betty Drummond, and I get to host it. We get to talk everything LDF and CBAs. JP goes, we're going to talk about that. We're going to ask people for questions. They said nothing's off limits. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't.
I don't. I mean, because people can send the questions over to you, right? They can just,
People can send the questions over to me. We're gonna be
sorry, babe.
putting a post up right in the group all day for people to send in their questions throughout the day, and we're gonna have them up to go up. We're gonna set it up, and yeah, it's. I don't know what people are thinking.
It's gonna be good.
So.
I can't wait to watch that. I'm gonna sit back and watch that after I've done my teach.
As Sharon gets go, this could go either way, right?
Yep.
So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. This was a topic I really wanted to talk about, and thankfully, my bro here was able to come on and give us some insights, being someone that's also going through this. So, just a quick announcement. There is no show next week, only because I will be at Fun in the Sun traveling around. I will be going live from Fun in the Sun over on the YouTube channel, so make sure to tune into that. We'll be live, I believe, Friday and Saturday nights, and I'll be live for the USLCC competition as well. The following week, my show will be on Tuesday, only because that's the only day I'm back in Alabama. Monday, I drive home from Florida. Wednesday, I kind of get on a plane to England. So we'll be going to be doing the show on Tuesday that day, and I will be letting you know what that topic will be then. And also coming out, guys, if you haven't yet, check out parts 1 and 2, episodes 15 and 16 of the Controversial Conversations podcast, talking about what's a professional industry. You're going to love it. And let me tell you right now, part 3 is coming out soon. Part 3 is coming out soon. So definitely take into that. Until next time, guys, hope you had fun. Again, Timmy, thank you, brother. Until next week,
man.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Or 2 weeks. See ya.